Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we are trying out Wolfe GLICK'S Sun team featuring Cherrim and Groudon. This is a really fun team that Wolfe built for the 25th Players Cup Invitational, and it has a lot of fun tricks up its sleeve. The core of Entei, Cherrim, and Groudon has actually become pretty standard, so yeah, this is something you should expect to see, if not Wolfe's team, certainly on other players' teams, but it just does a lot of damage, and Cherrim being able to boost Entei, especially in the Sun, is really, really wild. So the main upside of Cherrim is its ability Flower Gift, which is able to boost its partner's attack and special defense. And so, you know, it's pretty cool to just get some big stat increases immediately in the game, right? And so Cherrim's really valuable in that, but it also has some nice support moves where you got Helping Hand. Pollen Puff is a little good for breaking sashes, for chip damage, of course can heal your partners as well. So Groudon's really interesting on this team because it has the Iron Ball and there's the Dusclops with the Trick Room here as well, right? And so you don't necessarily need Groudon under Trick Room to sweep, but it often can be, you know, the case where you set up Trick Room with Dusclops, bring out Groudon, and then potentially even switch out Cherrim next to that Groudon and just spam Precipice Blaze, for example. This team is like the most anti-Zacian team I've ever seen. If you saw Wolfe's game against Naoto Mitsubishi in the first game of the their first match in the tournament, the Invitational, Naoto literally couldn't do a single thing. Like, his team just had literally nothing, and the combo of Groudon, Entei, Incin, and Zapdos just really beats down on Zacian teams. So I think now Zacian teams will probably add some text. Like, I've actually run into Landorus on Zacian teams, and that's pretty standard, but that gives, you know, significantly more trouble. But against Zacian teams that just have, like, the standard, you know, Rilla, Incin, Aleki, Urshifu, like, this team eats it for breakfast. So if you're tired of playing against Zacian, this is a team that I'd really recommend. So yeah, it's definitely a really, really fun team, and I think it's also archetype that you're going to see more of in the upcoming days and weeks. Of course, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to feature it. And the Zapdos set here is really smart as well. You've got Goggles and Static and Roost with Weather Ball. So this is just more anti-Zacian stuff. Goggles is really helpful in dealing with things like Venusaur and Amoonguss, for example. And Roost with Static is super strong because what this allows you to do, especially when you have the Sun up, is switch into Urshifu Surging Strikes. Well, they might just paralyze themselves from Static. It's pretty likely they will. And you can just heal all the damage back up with Roost. And so Zapdos will have to stick around on the field for a long time. When you're using it, you really just want to be smart about when you actually click that Roost. And then you've got Haze on Dusclops as well. I really love Haze because I think that there's a lot of setup in the format, Xerneas obviously being one of the main ones. There's also a lot of things that just can snowball pretty quickly. Calyrex Shadow Rider, Calyrex Ice Rider, for example, after getting a bunch of boosts. And so Haze is really valuable in just shutting those down and making sure that, you know, things don't get out of control too quickly. Because one thing you'll notice is that there aren't great Ghost Resists on this team other than the Incineroar. So yeah. Groudon in general is a pretty tricky restricted Pokemon just because it relies so heavily on Precipice Blades, and that is obviously a relatively inaccurate attack. However, the team is really well constructed, so it's like, yeah, you often will ideally put yourself in positions where you don't need to rely on that Precipice Blades early and then build enough of a lead where then you can just close out the game with like the potential to afford a couple misses. Kyogre can be a pretty tricky restricted matchup, so, you know, that's kind of the classic Groudon versus Kyogre war. Zacian is really, I think, easy to play into. And then for the others, yeah, I mean, like Calyrex, for example, Calyrex teams are typically so fast, so Scarf Entei can handle the Calyrex in itself, but then you also have Incineroar and Groudon, and the Fling on Groudon's pretty neat as well. So I think this team matches up really well into some of the most common restricted. But yeah, we'll have to see. Either way, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. Thanks to Wolfe for the team. Details, including a rental and a pace, are in the description below. Question of the day, I want to know what Pokemon you think deserves better abilities, mainly thinking about how Cherrim is not used very frequently, but, you know, it has the unique ability of Flower Gift, which is pretty handy for us here. So let me know in the comment section below, and let's get started. Alright, getting into things here, and it's a Zacian team, but there's a lot of, yeah, I mean, not a traditional Zacian team at all. Tornadus, Lando, Aegislash, Dragapult, Gastrodon, and Zacian. Honestly, really cool stuff. So I'm thinking Groudon under Trick Room here is actually pretty good. Landorus is a very big threat to us. Because of the fact, like, Earth Power just one-shots Entei and Incineroar. If I were my opponent, like, I would contemplate leading Tornadus and the Landorus. So, I honestly really want to go the Trick Room route in this game. Incin Dusclops, where I can fake out Tornadus. I feel like so few Tornadus are even carrying Taunt these days, to be honest. But Incin Dusclops, Groudon, and then I want Cherrim for Gastrodon. Zapdos is probably the better call. But Cherrim actually does decent damage with Solar Blade into Lando and Gastrodon in the late game, and also actually gives me a switch in into Earth Power / just the general resist. Well, I wouldn't really call it a resist because Earth Power is still a 2-hit KO onto it. But we'll see. Either way, really unconventional Zacian team. That's really cool. I feel like, you know, when people see Zacian, they're typically expecting the regular support, Incineroar, Urshifu, Rillaboom, so on and so forth. Not going to be the case. Maybe Gastrodon plus Dragapult. Okay, I mean, I'm okay with this, I think. Dragapult's scary, but even if you're, like, Choice Banded, you're not one-shotting us turn 1. And if you're Spec Shadow Ball isn't a KO, so I think it's pretty free to just fake out Gastro Trick Room turn 1. And, okay, it's Wide Lens and AV. Risk, by the way, such a good ability for us here. If you're Wide Lens, that typically implies support with Will-O-Wisp, I would think. Because Dragapult doesn't rely on that many inaccurate attacks, but it also could be Surf. Yeah, but support Will-O-Wisp here is what I'm expecting. But turn 1 fake out Trick Room I think is fine. Gastro is scary, but we know it doesn't have recovery now, which is so critical for us. Okay. Yep, it is Surf. Huh, pretty neat. Surf. Vincent takes... Oh, I could just Haze though, right? Like Haze Parting Shot, bring out Groudon, and then just Precipice Blades. Yeah, I'm down for that. Because with Haze, we should survive an attack from Gastrodon, get a free switch in here. And then with Groudon, what I can do, the subsequent turn, is withdraw Dusclops out into Cherrim to give myself the boost. Okay, they're going to Scald. Nice, we survived that. Sick. I'm sure Dragapult just... Oh, you know, Dragapult could go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Incineroar here. It may have been better to knock out the Incineroar. Or sorry, knock out the Dragapult, because if they actually land a Will-O-Wisp as we switch in, that would be really bad. I think I'm still going to go in and around. If they Will-O-Wisp, so be it. That's just a really great play on their end. Cherrim is too passive for me right now, but yeah, I actually think it might have been better to just do damage there into Pult. Nope, they just go for Surf. Okay, perfect. Because, like I said, now what I can do is just withdraw Dusclops out into Cherrim and Precipice Blades. And be able to really protect easily in front of that. My only fear is missing here, but if it misses, so be it. And the thing is, I still feel okay about our chances of winning with Incineroar Dusclops late game, even with Zacian, if we just get a single Intimidate onto Zacian. Because Zacian struggles against dealing damage into the Clops. Okay, nice. With Iron Ball, we outspeed. That's going to double connect. And that is why you use Cherrim. That is the power of Flower Gift. Double KO there. Now I have Helping Hand support. This is a cool thing, right? It's like Cherrim, I don't even need to outspeed things right now. Just having it under Trick Room is... just having its ability out next to this Groudon is super valuable for us. So it's Landorus plus Zacian. Both of these Pokemon have the potential to go for Substitute right now, so I do want to respect that option. Earth Power shouldn't KO Groudon, though, because of Flower Gift. Yeah. So with that, actually, I think it's very safe to just Heat Crash Zacian and go for Solar Blade onto Landorus. Yeah, this actually played out perfectly. I'm just really glad we didn't miss Precipice Blades there. That's kind of what it boiled down to, it felt like. But I don't really think my opponent has an out here. Because Heat Crash should be a one-hit KO onto Zacian. And they don't protect either. Nice. Alright, so that should just be 3 KOs with Groudon. Brilliant. That's out of the way. I was playing a practice game, and I think Lando-I is actually a really big threat, just because of the fact that we can't necessarily one-shot it easily before it moves. And Intimidate's not really valuable into it, and I ran into a substitute set, and in that game I brought Entei, but they just subbed up on me. Landorus opts for the Sludge Bomb, but yeah, the key thing here was having the Iron Ball, so that I could just, you know, move before anything. I was actually really surprised Aegislash didn't come out on this one, because I was kind of expecting Wide Guard stuff. But yeah, the Wide Lens Dragapult with AV Gastrodon's pretty cool. Fortunately for us, though, we have more physical damage, specifically from Groudon. So, yeah. Okay, I kind of want to just see Groudon fling because I don't get to use that attack very often. So Cherrim's gonna go for a helping hand, but yeah, like, you know, even though Cherrim wasn't the one doing the damage in this game, I needed it to... Okay, they actually protect. I needed it for its ability, and it was just so good for Flower Gift. So we whiff Fling there. That's okay. Cherrim does expire, but that actually means Cherrim can take the final KO of the game with the Solar Blade. Pretty neat. So shoutouts to Cherrim. This was the perfect, like, demonstration of how strong Cherrim's ability can be when paired next to Groudon. Okay, they're gonna Sludge Bomb here. That's fine. It's funny though. Yeah. I was gonna say Cherrim can pick up the last KO, but obviously it didn't. And I feel like with Cherrim, I normally like for a brief second think it's chlorophyll, and I always have to remind myself that it's not. It's just so like anytime you use like weather in VGC so often, it's because like you're boosting the speed, but obviously Cherrim's Flower Gift is pretty different there. But yeah, I mean, that was just a great Groudon game. The main thing I was nervous about was Aegislash with Wide Guard, but I was like, even if you have Wide Guard on Aegislash, it's fine. And their damage output into us was relatively, into Groudon wasn't amazing. It needed to be Earth Power from Groudon, basically. Or sorry, Earth Power from Landorus, or the Gastrodon, but we were able to neutralize Gastrodon relatively early on, and I think the key thing there was a slight opportunity for them to Will-O-Wisp as I pivoted out the Incineroar, but it's a really advanced prediction to make, and I'm not sure a lot of people would go for it in that spot. And I was like, okay, if they don't go for it, we just hit the Precipice Blaze. It kind of just feels like GG, especially because Gastrodon had AV. So my opponent maybe could have switched Gastrodon out into Lando. And if they had Protect on Dragapult, it's actually a completely different game. But they might not have also just been expecting a double KO to come out there. So the power of Cherrim really comes through here, enabling Groudon to just deal massive amounts of damage. So that was a really, really fun first one, and I'm glad to highlight just how good those two can be in combination with each other. And how you can even bring Cherrim under Trick Room. So let's look for another one here. Okay, next game of the day here, and it's against Calyrex-I with Lurantis. Yay, another Dragapult, which is pretty interesting. The first thing I see is that they don't have many ground resists or immunes. The main one is going to be the Lurantis. Now, we have Iron Ball in this Groudon, meaning that we'll actually outpace the majority of my opponent's Pokemon under Trick Room, which is really critical. This is an interesting one. I don't think we bring Zapdos out here. It's just so bad into Calyrex. Not bad into Mienshao. Not really be the upside. Entei lead is interesting here because you can't click Fake Out into it. But I really like Dusclops to scout out my opponent's items. The main thing I'm nervous about here is Mimikyu, right? Because with Mimikyu, you can set up Trick Room and then Self-Shadow Sneak into Calyrex. So actually, because we have Haze on Dusclops, I think this needs to come. Yeah. The question I'm asking myself is, can I really bring Cherrim out in this game? Increased damage for Precipice Blaze is nice. But Incineroar is probably more consistent. I could go Dusclops plus Incineroar, but I'm afraid of boosting Lurantis early. So I think I'll go Dusclops plus Entei, Groudon plus Incineroar. I have less incentive to bring Cherrim out in this game because, one, it's not very good offensively. Like, the Solar Blade and the Pollen Puff just not doing very much for me here. Whereas in the last game, part of the reason I brought Cherrim was because it was actually pretty good offensively into Gastrodon and Landorus-I, and those were the two major threats to the Landorus, to our Groudon in the last game. So because my opponent doesn't have stuff like that, a little bit less incentivized to bring. It's gonna be Mienshao and Dragapult. I love leading Dusclops with this team because it just gives you huge information on turn one. It should be... Oh, Jackpack and Choice Band. Okay. Jetpack and Choice Band. That's very neat. I don't know if I'm that nervous about Choice Band, right? Because what I can do is just pivot Entei out into Groudon. Like, yeah, maybe you break and swipe, but that's fine. And then just Sacred Fire into Mienshao. The only risk here is I can miss Sacred Fire. 5% chance. But the reason I'm going for it is because I really don't want to take Recoil with Flare Blitz. You'd have to ask yourself whether or not it's worth it or not. I'm not sure here, but once again, this is the upside of leading Dusclops because those are not items. Well, actually, Band is pretty common on Dragapult now, but still, like, they just go for Fake Out. Cool, but you can't flinch us. Alright, Sacred Fire connects. That's a good start to the game. That's a KO onto Mienshao. Nice. Mienshao is annoying because of Wide Guard, and so that paves the way for Groudon a little bit easier now. And they just go for Dragon Darts. I mean, it's going to hurt, obviously, with Choice Band, but it's fine. Really good damage, actually. I could have just clicked Trick Room there, I don't want a Trick Room when my Entei is still out on the field, right? I feel like Calyrex coming out now makes sense. Let me just bring on Mimikyu. That's fine. I can just Precipice Blades here and Sacred Fire, right? Feels okay to me. Like, I feel like we just have a really good matchup here, to be honest. And even if they have Shadow Sneak, like, I have Incin plus Dusclops for Haze in the back. And Groudon has Iron Ball. The Iron Ball drastically improves our matchup, I would say. I could have gone for Heat Crash here. That actually might have been the better play, in retrospect. Nice. Entei even hangs on. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I think I like Heat Crash more here. We missed Mimikyu. That's okay. Not knocking out Dragapult's actually a good thing there, I would say. Because now, if you're my opponent, you're in a really weird position. Shadow Sneak here into Entei feels like a possibility. If I were my opponent, I would honestly I would swap Dragapult out right now and go for the Hail Mary. Because we have Haze on Clops and Incin and Dusclops in the back, I'm actually pretty content to just Blades here. I think the obvious play for my opponent would be to Shadow Sneak Entei and swap and just stay in with Dragapult. But I need a cover for them switching Dragapult out right now. And with Trick Room going up, Entei is relatively useless for the remainder of this match anyway. Oh, that's not good though. I guess that's the risk of going for Precipice Blades again. That's oh, no. Now Dragon Dart targets twice. Oh, this shouldn't KO, right? We've been hit by two already. Okay, I think we're good. That's too close for comfort, though. Frustrating set of misses, but that's kind of what I put myself into. It's fine, though. I think Dusclops plus Incin is still just so strong in the back, like, even though we've missed two. It's probably better to just Heat Crush, but I don't know. Like, Mentor, and we know the band. Okay, honestly, you know what I'm down to do here is just Protect and Nightshade. Yeah, if you don't get set up with Calyrex, then you're not really that scary to me. I probably didn't need to risk missing Precipice Blades throughout this battle, though. Okay, that's a KO. Now we have Incineroar in the back, plus a Groudon, which should outpace you for Trick Room. Arts is good damage, I have to say. Pretty impressive. I also don't know how much Heat Crash actually does into Calyrex-I's thing component to the game. Alright. This will be an inexcusable game to lose, though, in my opinion. So if I lose, I'll be pretty upset at myself. 2 turns of Trick Room. We've got Iron Ball. I don't know if I knock out Dragapult is my only concern here, but I don't want to risk missing. I think the easiest play is actually to just pivot Groudon out into Incineroar right now, because that gets an Intimidate off, and then just Nightshade into the Dragapult. The only problem is I don't know if this KOs Dragapult. It's pretty close. Even if it doesn't, though, Darts plus Ice Skull Crush shouldn't be a KO. And then I can just fake out Pain Split the next turn. Actually, no, I would just fake out Nightshade. Okay. Oh, it's actually White Herb. It's not Policy. That's pretty neat. I was playing around Policy this entire time. Okay, we do knock out Dragapult. Nice. That should win us the game then, I think. Nice read with the high horsepower, but that's not going to KO us. Yeah, pretty good. Well, now we just set up Trick Room, right? Right, Trick Room is up right now. They're always gonna protect with Calyrex here. Oh wow, they actually might have brought it back. That because of the White Herb, and because their berry doesn't activate here. There's one really cool play I want to make here. But I'm running out of time. I'll tell you what the play is in a second. They should just protect here, right? Oh, they don't. Okay, good. The play I would have wanted to make actually would have been messed up if they didn't protect there, which is what they did. Okay, so since we know they're White Herb, Trick Room expires. Now I just set up another Trick Room, and then Nightshade Heat Crash should be a KO. But yeah, so the play I was thinking of was if I'm reading into a Protect here, what I can do is switch out Dusclops into Groudon. Actually, that doesn't even work, right? I was gonna say switch Dusclops out into Groudon and then Self-Parting Chop, but then it's just Dusclops Groudon. Never mind, that doesn't even work. I was trying to figure out how I could pivot instant out and then back in on the same turn to recycle a Fake Out, but the answer is it doesn't. Anyway, now we can just Blitz and go for and then Groudon under Trick Room should win. But oh, we're just faster than Sinnoh too. Yeah, the main thing that's really interesting in this game was me being really nervous about Policy Calyrex. Specifically because, oh, unless Ice Cold Crush one-shots us here. Oh, that's actually fine, because I just Nightshade to win the game now. Fancy play. Sorry, I said Ice Cold Crush too. This has just been an intense game because of the misses. I think I like... actually, no. I think it is right to just Flare Blitz there. But then the scary thing is they would actually win off a critical hit Glacial Lance, potentially? I don't know, Dusclops is so defensive. I don't think they would. Anyway, we just bring in Groudon now and Nightshade. But this was a lot closer than I would have liked it to be, because I thought we had a really good matchup. Especially after the beginning, like the first turn of the game. But, you know, they played for their Zouds. And one thing that their team does really well is you bluff Shadow Sneak into Weakness Policy, and they weren't even that in the end, which is pretty cool. But yeah, now we can just protect a Nightshade. There's no downside to that, right? Like, yeah, you're never one-shotting Dusclops here. Yeah. Even if you crit Glacial Lance there, Nightshade is always winning us the game. But like I said, I did take some risks in this game by going for Precipice Blades, and I thought it'd be okay if we missed, and I mean, in the end it was, but it got a little too close for comfort, to be honest. And I don't know, if Dragapult like had a lot of HP investment, I actually missed the KO from the Nightshade, that could have played out really, really poorly. So we'll take the win, but yeah. That's, once again, the downside of Groudon. This Pokemon is so strong, but Precipice Blades is so unreliable relative to Calyrex with Astral Barrage, Xerneas with Dazzling Gleam Moonblast, Kyogre with Water Spout. I mean, so many Kyogres don't even run Origin Pulse, they're running Scald instead. And so this is why I always have a little, like, I get really nervous using Groudon, because it can be so good, but each Precipice Blades is so critical, especially when you're adding Cherrim to the mix. It's like, you really need to hit those. So, yeah, I mean, we fortunately end up winning the game anyway, but like I said, it was a little too close for comfort, and really what I could have done was just play around the misses and just Heat Crash instead. That's probably the better play. I just got tempted with Precipice Blade's damage output, but yeah, in the end we didn't win, but I think, yeah, Heat Crashing was probably just a little weird there, so let's look for another one now. Alright, third game here, and it's up against Yveltal and Araquanid. Yveltal's interesting with foul play. Fire type damage in general is strong here. They have potential Trick Room with Stakataka. Zapdos with Goggles here is pretty interesting. How good's Cherrim here is, I guess, the main question. Like, okay. Yeah, I really do want to bring it out, but I have to have a good argument for it. I mean, increasing Groudon's damage output is always valued. I definitely want to lead Zapdos to start. I guess Incineroar is actually not that important in this matchup. So I could go Entei, Zapdos, Cherrim, Groudon. I don't love this matchup, to be honest, because I think our damage output into Yveltal is pretty suspect, other than Zapdos. But I actually guess you could bring in Incineroar because it walls Yveltal and can Flare Blitz. So maybe it was the right bring, but we do get some value from Cherrim's ability here. And the other thing about Cherrim is it has Pollen Puff, and Yveltal, I think my opponent's going to struggle to actually get a knockout quickly onto Groudon, and so Cherrim can Pollen Puff it to heal it back up. Okay, Yveltal. Okay. I'm honestly okay with this if you are... AB Yveltal, turn 1, I can just Flare Blitz and Thunderbolt into the opposing Yveltal, which is kind of what I want to go for right now. Because we can knock out Yveltal, that's huge, right? They go for Stone Edge, and they actually unfortunately miss. They targeted my Entei. Don't know if that would have been a one-hit KO, but that obviously gives us a significant advantage to start the game. I'm not sure T-Bolt KOs here, though. Yveltal's so bulky. Did they roost? Okay, they just snarl. That's good. That Life Orb? That did a lot. Oh, it's not even Life Orb. Okay. The main thing about Yveltal is denying it recovery. I think Zapdos would survive a Stone Edge here. I'm down to just double up onto Yveltal. Their play is probably to switch out Yveltal here, but they... Oh, they have... Does that KO us? Okay, it doesn't. They do hit Stone Edge. Does that KO us? It does not. Oh, the margins are so thin here, though. Jeez. And we know there's Scarf Stone Edge on Entei right now, which is good. I really wish I roosted here, but that's fine. It's definitely a lucky start to the game, but yeah, Stone Edge is very, very volatile. I actually used it, like, I kind of swore off using Stone Edge after US Nationals in 2014, where I had a Stone Edge Lucario, and I think I missed 3 of 4 against Charizard Y, Mega Charizard Y throughout the course of the tournament. In the future, I was like, I'm just not including this move on my team. At least it's not something I should rely on. I don't think my opponent, like, necessarily is relying on it right now. It was just by far their best move, given the lead. We just got pretty lucky. Anyway, Cherrim, Groudon in the back. That's pretty good, and I think Cherrim has opportunities to potentially Pollen Puff. But I think I want the free switch in right now. I think my Entei has basically done its job in dealing with Yveltal. So I'm down to Detect here and sacrifice my Entei. Get a free switch in. Into Groudon. Okay, they actually Stone Edge into Zapdos, so that's nice. Maybe sub here. That'd be really interesting. Honestly, not bad damage from Flare Blitz. We'll take it. It gives me the free switch in regardless, so get to do a little bit of damage before fainting. And they just go for Liquidation. Okay, that's not too bad then. I don't think Solar Blade KOs, so I feel like the right option right now is to bring in Groudon. Like, I want to bring in Groudon and then just switch Zapdos out into the Cherrim. But the thing is, instead of going for Precipice Blades, I think I'm actually going to does Heat Crash KO Araquanid in the sun with Cherrim? I would think so. If not, then rip. But Araquanid does get Wide Guard, so I really want to cover for Wide Guard right now, because if we knock out Araquanid, Entei is completely useless against Groudon in the end game. Ah, they just protect though. Okay, nice play. I missed Stone Edge again. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely gotten very lucky in this game. I'm just gonna protect here. They should swap Entei out now. I don't have a good switch in though. Oh man, actually, Entei can still completely sweep us here. That was they played really well this game in general, and especially to just protect last turn. I think I get swept by Entei. You should always swap Entei out right now if you're my opponent, in my opinion. Even if I pick up a double KO, would I win? That doesn't feel like it. I'm gonna Solar Blade. Oh, actually, you shouldn't one-shot. No, I needed to... Yeah, so Entei switches out. I think I needed to protect Groudon or switch it out this turn. I have Venusaur in the back. Either. And there was Wide Guard. Oh, they just hard outplayed me this game. First, yeah, conserving their Wide Guard. Props, and Venusaur was the perfect fourth for them, so they should win this one. I needed to Heat Crash the Entei slot there. That would have potentially won us the game. Actually, would have just won us the game, I think. I guess it's technically still not over, but I think I just don't... Oh, I do have Pollen Puff, though, with Cherrim, meaning I can actually heal up in this game. So I am going to Pollen Puff Groudon here. And he crashed into Venusaur. Yeah, this is still potentially winnable. And they go for Sleep Powder, but we dodge. I mean, they definitely just played better than I did in this game. The thing is, like, they could still win, which is wild too, right? But this is a game I look back at and it's like, man, we get all this luck and we're still not winning. Like, what happened, right? What went wrong? And honestly, I just got really outplayed. Like, the protect into wide guard was super smart. We even dodge a Sleep Powder. Yeah, I mean, this is a good lesson on like high variance moves like Sleep Powder and Stone Edge, but honestly, if they hit any of those, it feels like they probably win the game. So even if we were to win this one, I would not be happy at all. This turn is a question of, do you go for do you go for Wide Guard or do you just Liquidation? Or sorry, Protect. Because Scarf Entei is still so good into my team right now. That's what's so crazy about all of this. I want to Solar Blade into Araquanid and protect Groudon. I don't know. I feel like my opponent's just been one step ahead of me this whole game, though. Yeah. Like, they've read every turn. And I'm going to guess they're Sacred Firing Cherrim here, too. Okay, it is Blitz into Groudon, which gives us a fighting chance. Okay, because they locked themselves into Flare Blitz as well, this last turn of Sunlight, you should Wide Guard now, right? So I want to just Solar Blade and E-Crash. Guarantee the KO onto Araquanid. I don't know, though. I'm like... we got so lucky in this game. And just throughout the episode today, to be honest. Like, I got outplayed every turn when they had Araquanid out on the field. To protect the Wide Guard. You know, it's just like... This is a game, it's like one of those where it's like, yeah, they finally go for the Wide Guard, but it's one in which I reflect on and it's like, we do not win the majority of the time. And it means there's significant, there need to be significant improvements in how we've approached it, because, yeah. The main adjustment is like, I got baited into think, like, what Araquanid, oh my goodness, that doesn't KO? Alright, yeah, if that KO'd, like, we had the game won, but it did not. Wow. They're literally in my head in this game, this feels like. Detect into Blades is the play I want to go for, because I feel like they're gonna protect and Flare Blitz. But I have not called a single turn correctly against this Araquanid. Okay, nice. Oh, unless Liquidation just KOs Groudon here. I mean, that's what they're going for, right? It shouldn't, right? I bow down to the Araquanid. Kudos. This is a great lesson on why you need to not tilt in Pokemon, though, right? Because my opponent did not tilt, and they played perfectly. I actually had the game sealed up if I went Helping Hand plus Heat Crash. I just didn't think Araquanid would survive that turn, honestly, with the Heat Crash. And the reason I didn't want to go for Helping Hand was because I was nervous about Entei targeting the Groudon. But realistically, in that position, Groudon's never fainting with the sun being up. Actually, if they Flare Blitz plus Liquidation, it might be enough to KO Groudon. So you can. This is a great example of, like, yeah, my opponent got really unlucky, and they still played out of their mind to win the game. And I just gotta think, yeah, like, where do I improve on in this one before any of the bad luck even happens? Because, like, turn one, if they just hit that Stone Edge, I guess I need to set up Trick Room in this matchup. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Honestly, I'm glad they ended up winning that. I also just exposed the power of the Araquanid there. Is that a guaranteed KO onto Groudon? Like, I gotta check. The thing was, the turn that Entei switched out was so obvious, and I walked into that Wide Guard. If I had just gone for Heat Crash that turn, Well, it still wouldn't have been a win. Honestly, Scarf Entei from their end, it feels so fitting to lose to that because I'm just thinking about, you know, the other teams we've used, like the Lunala, Santi's Rain team, and it feels like in our last game, in all of these episodes, we run into like something that we're using on our team, whether it be a Serena way back or the Lunala or the Entei here. But yeah, like, I guess I needed to go for Trick Room. Yeah, it's just that they had Torkoal and Stakataka, but the thing is, because we have the Iron Ball, it's probably acceptable to set up Trick Room. So the main thing I'm calculating right now is Araquanid into Groudon and how much you do. Anyway, I'm really, yeah, like, that's a game in which I really would feel bad if we won. And obviously Pokemon's Pokemon, but my opponent outplayed me so hard in that one, so yeah. Liquidation. Out the Sun. How did that KO us? Water Bubble, Liquidation. Okay, let me double check the EV spread real quick. So if you are wondering, I was surprised by that one-hit KO, and yeah, most Araquanids in the format right now are max attack with the Mystic Water. So it's pretty, yeah, if you actually don't incorporate the Mystic Water, it's never a KO, and that's why I expected to survive, because I'm not really used to playing against Araquanid with Mystic Water. This Araquanid is such a cool counter into Groudon, honestly. So yeah, without Mystic Water, it does 93 maximum, but yeah, the Mystic Water to it, and as you can see, it's a 5/8 chance to get that one-hit KO. So yeah, I mean, the main mistake in this game, let's see, okay, if the Sun were up, Liquidation does 46 to 55, and then you factor in Entei going for Flare Blitz in the Sun. So, Helping Hand, yeah, that would be enough. I was gonna say, because obviously you can look back at the game and be like, oh yeah, why didn't you just Helping Hand and Heat Crush into a Araquanid? But the problem is that they actually double up into Groudon as the Helping Hand comes out. Groudon just faints, and I just insta lose the game there as well. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, really, really well played by my opponent. I like, looking back, I think the matchup is like a little bit shaky, and I also just walked into every single turn with the Araquanid. The non-wide guard into the wide guard, into the other wide guard, and then really good conservation of Entei as well. So you can see how good Araquanid is potentially into these Sun teams, right? Even though it's not technically, or like it doesn't actually resist fire, a Water Bubble basically makes it resist it, right? And increases your damage output as well. So, props to my opponent, because, like, I think so many players in their position would have just tilted off the face of the earth after all the bad RNG, but they managed to walk past all of that and still, you know, managed to come out with the win. So, that's the thing, right? Like, they had a good matchup, they executed it well, and they didn't get super frustrated, even with all the bad luck. So, props to them. And, yeah, I mean, I just got hard outplayed in that one. Like, that's just how it is, and I'm okay saying that. Like, really, no shame in that. Now I'm thinking, though, how do I beat Yveltal with the faster Scarf Entei with Stone Edge? Like, it has to be the Stakataka then. But the thing is, I can't even safely lead Stakataka. It would probably have to be instant Stakataka, fake out Yveltal Trick Room turn 1, and then go from there. Especially because in the end, they brought, it was Entei plus Yveltal lead, Araquanid in the back, to which we can Rock Slide, although they have Wide Guard, and then Venusaur. So I just didn't feel amazing about Trick Room and Team Preview in that one, but I think after playing my opponent and knowing like their sets, knowing their Scarf Entei has Stone Edge and is faster than us, it does kind of have to be Trick Room. But it's not like Trick Room is a guaranteed win either, because they have Torkoal and Araquanid in Team Preview. So, yeah. Anyway, that was a really fun one. Once again, just kudos to my opponent, because we got so lucky. Like, this is a game in which you look back and you're like, oh my goodness, how did I get so lucky and still lose? But the reality is, like, even with the bad luck, you can show why, like my opponent was just clearly the better player in that one, right? And that's what happens in Pokemon sometimes, right? Even if you get really unlucky, the best players are so often able to just still outplay their opponents. Now, it's not always going to be the case, but really in this one, yeah, my opponent called every turn with the Araquanid perfectly. And it was a really tough position for them too, right? The turn that they just went Protect and Attack, if I just press his Blades there, the game's over. And so for them to make that call was really impressive. I guess I regret not roosting earlier with Zapdos, but quite frankly, like, this wouldn't have even been a close game if they had hit all of their attacks. So we were only in it to begin with because of the luck, and that's how, like, in reflection, it's like, okay, well, how do I prevent that RNG from happening? Or sorry, how do I prevent myself from not needing to get lucky to win? And it's Trick Room. Trick Room is the answer here. So, yeah, but it's just not the easiest matchup, honestly, and my opponent also executed it so well, so props to them. Like, it's been a while since I feel like I've been completely hard outplayed like that, and my opponent was just really one step ahead, and I'm glad they ended up winning, honestly, because we got so lucky. So that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. Don't forget to check out Wolfie's team down in the description below, answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.